I'm going to show you 4 ways to take your keyboard from this to this. I'm going to be using the Redragon K599 because it's a nice budget keyboard and it's hot swappable, but this should work with any keyboard. The first thing I'm going to do is take all the keycaps and switches out of the keyboard just so I can open the keyboard up. After I take all the screws out of the plate, I'm going to take the plate off and open the PCB so I can take out everything. This one is a wireless keyboard, so it is attached all the way to the case because it has a battery, but yours might or might not have the same thing. I'm going to start by putting foam in between the case and the PCB. You can go to Home Hardware or wherever home improvement place you have. Walmart might have it, I'm not too sure. I just found these from an old keycap set that I had. It just has some pretty thin foam that I put in between the case and the PCB just to take away some of the pinging sound that came with the keyboard itself, as it didn't sound the greatest right out of the box, as you heard earlier. Your keyboard might already have this, depending if it's a pretty high-end keyboard. They do now include a lot of foam and silicone. Silicone is like a rubber, and it's probably better than the foam itself, so if you can find some rubber, that would be probably better. But all I had was some foam laying around, and I got this for completely free. You can pretty much find anything to put in between the case and the PCB just to take away some of that pinging sound. You can take your time with it. I didn't, and cut around and make it the exact shape of your keyboard and cut out areas for all these studs that you're gonna have to screw back in anyways. But I didn't do that. All I did was really rip it and it worked perfectly fine, and I kind of just shoved it in there. The next thing I'm going to do is put tape on the bottom side of the PCB. This kind of makes it more of a thocky sound when you're typing. I'm not even sure how it does it. I just saw Tape Mod. I tried it out and it does add a lot of thock to the keyboard. You can use any tape that doesn't conduct electricity, of course, because you don't want to start a fire from your keyboard. That'd be kind of awkward. But masking tape is the best. I use gaffer's tape, which you're not supposed to use because it's really sticky, so you can't really take it off afterwards. But I'm not going to be really using this keyboard that much, so I just went ahead with the only tape I really had and used gaffer's tape. You just put 2 to 3 strips of tape along the PCB and pretty much cover the whole thing. And that's about it. This one's pretty easy to do. The next thing I did was Band-Aid mod my stabilizers to get rid of some of that wobble that the stabilizers have. All you really need for this one is 1 Band-Aid and some scissors. Most people have that laying around the house already, and I'm guessing you do as well, so you don't even have to buy anything for this one. I used a pair of tweezers to put it on, but you can try to do it with your hands. It's kind of hard, but all you do is cut the Band-Aid into strips, and maybe you want to cut them in half to make it a little bit smaller, and then open up the stabilizer and put in the Band-Aid just to get rid of the wobble. It's pretty easy to do. You just put it in and then you close the stabilizer down on the Band-Aid and just leave it there. It's pretty simple. Just do that with every stabilizer and it takes away a lot of the wobble. Another thing you can do for the stabilizers is lube them. This one's really easy. You might have to buy some dielectric grease from Amazon if you don't already have some. It's about $10. And all you have to do is get the stabilizer, take it out of like the actual clip itself, and just dip it in pretty generously into the lube. It's really easy to do, and then you just put it back on the stabilizer and put it back in your keyboard. And this just makes your stabilizer sound a lot better. And if you wanted to, you can spend a little more money and buy some new switches, or you can just lube your current switches. I didn't do either of those because I wanted you to tell the difference between just the normal mods I did, but just lubing the switches makes your keyboard sound way better. And it's pretty cheap. It just takes about 2 to 3 hours to do. And the last thing I did was put new keycaps onto this keyboard. You don't have to do that one. All it really adds is to the look of the keyboard. It is a nice way to make your keyboard look better. If you wanted to do that, you can get some pretty cheap, like around $10, all the way up to like $150, which is kind of unreal unless you have like a really expensive keyboard. I actually just compared $130 ceramic keycaps to just regular $20 plastic keycaps, so you can check that video out as well.